Hello everyone. I did something small this morning and I just wanted to walk you guys through it. So this morning I was watching the prompt engineering workshop by Zack Witten for the second time today, and I just had this idea of what if we could actually have a tool that people can just write their regular prompts, their regular statements in English, and then this tool now takes that prompt and makes it better, right? Because this is the second time I'm watching this video. I first watched it on my phone, now I'm watching on my laptop, and I noticed that Zach really shares like important concepts, right? Concepts that are really good, and I suggest that everyone goes to watch the video. I may leave the link in the description. There are a lot of things that he discusses, very good, very important for developers. And I just had the idea that what if we could have a tool, right? Where, for instance, we have been building racks. I have been building racks, and we just have this whole prompt engineering aspect of it where you have to continuously refine your prompt. So I was just thinking, what if you can just have a tool, you write a regular prompt, the tool just sits there. When a prompt comes in, it takes that prompt, looks at the prompt, understands it, and properly structures the prompt to achieve the goal for which the prompt is looking to achieve, right? And initially I thought I would have to use, the best thing now still is to use an NLP, maybe like a small NLP. Code Llama like this would be a very good example. Or maybe pick Llama 2 or Llama 3, 7 billion, or like all these small, even Phi 3, right? Phi 3 would be a good idea. Pick these models and just turn them into a prompt, kind of like a fine-tuning prompt layer, right? In your RAG, where you get to write your regular prompt, but then on that layer it picks it, updates the prompt, construct it into a better flow. Even though I had this idea, I still thought that is an extra cost, right? Not cost, yes, cost in terms of course, money, but cost in terms of latency, cost in terms of extra call. You need to now call an LLM to do the fine tuning, to come back, then you now send it to the actual, maybe what if you are using different LLMs, right? So then I was like, okay, why not, let's just do it without any LLM use. So I was just sitting here today and I decided to kind of work on it a little, do something small on it, and this is what I was able to create, right? So I decided to create this. Obviously we may have to turn it into a package later on, but basically what I'm doing here is just called Reprompt, right? So I'm just using NLTK. What is happening is that once I'm using Punked, I'm using stop words, I'm using WordNet. These are regular NLTK stuff, and of course it is English based. So what is happening is that once the prompt comes in, it's down here, it's called improve, and this is actually on GitHub. I'll leave a link in the description as well. So basically we receive the original prompt from the user, and then we tokenize it, right? We do some pre-processing. So what happens in the pre-processing stage is that we pick the words, we try to fix grammar as much as we can, still using NLTK, and then we capitalize everything that came in, right? If some things are not capitalized, whatever casing it came in, we try to normalize the casing, and afterwards we pick the sentence or the words, the prompt, original prompt that came, and then we tokenize it, right? We break them down into words, and then when we are done, we lemmatize them as well. Just to ensure that we get their base forms so that we can easily work with this. So after we are done, the next thing to do is then to identify the key concept. This was a bit tricky for me, because how then do you identify the key concept, what to do, right? So I just did some few research around, and basically whatever words are not really common, right? Whatever words are not common, whatever words are not that much spoken in that sentence case or the context, basically would be like keywords we can just pick, right? This particular identify key concept basically is just trying to understand what keywords are in the statement or the prompt statement that we can use or we should be conscious of, right? And then once we are done, we now use these key concepts, or let's just say keywords, to try to get the intent. Right now, I know that this is very very limited, and I just wanted to do some. I just thought it would be nice, it would be cool to try to do this form of like proof of concept, not to rely on an LLM to do the fine tuning of the prompt. So basically, what I did was to just have this kind of dictionary here where we have intent, right? So if it starts with how, if it has steps in there, if it has guides in there, then basically we are trying to get an instruction or tell the LLM to do something. If we say what, define, explain, we are trying to get a definition. If we say explanation itself, we say why, reason, cause, this kind of thing. So these are basically some bunch of words that came to mind for these 6 intents that I had in mind, that I thought kind of fits almost every. I mean, it doesn't fit everything, but yeah. So afterwards, then I just if the intent is not there. Oh, I can see this still here. If the intent is not there, then basically we just say it's a general intent that the person has, right? So now what happens is that after all this is done, we now come to formatting, right? So if you go and listen to the prompt workshop, you realize that formatting of your prompt is very very important. And Zack advised that for him, he uses XML because XML kind of, I mean, not kind of, XML gives structure, right? So he uses XML, and he would advise that people use XML. I, in the past, have used Markdown. I mean, I still use Markdown. So Markdown is good. I also think you can just kind of use the square brackets, right, as we call them, so to kind of divide or separate the various parts of your prompt. But I mean, for me, this is what I try to do. I try to use XML. So I found a package, XML E3 thing over here. So what I did was that at the beginning, I create the base or the root element, and I call it the prompt, right? So basically, once it goes to the final LLM, the main LLM, the LLM knows that we are actually prompting. This is a prompt, and you should pick it and work on it. So then the first part of the prompt is the context. Like, what is the context? What is the person trying to achieve? So then again, we are not using LLM, so I just have to write some things myself. Then I say the user is trying to seek information about, then the key concept, the keywords that we had from the initial prompts, right? So then when we are done, we now add the instructions for the LLM. So this, I had to sit down and try to craft prompts on what the LLM should do based on the keywords and the intent that we have been able to derive from those keywords. So if it's an instruction, we say provide a step-by-step instruction on how to do something, and then limit your response to 5 steps. I mean, this can increase, maybe let's just do 8 steps. Then 8 steps is too much. Let's stick with 5. Then we say, okay, if it's a definition, we say define and explain the concept of, then we put the keywords that we found in there. Then we say if it's an explanation, then explain in detail why something is something. And I try to make it more efficient, and I say use lightweight chain of thought, right, to approach. This is something that Zack mentioned in the workshop. Then if it's a comparison, I say compare and contrast something in a very brief paragraph. Don't go too long about it. If it's an analysis we are trying to do, we say analyze the keywords by considering their cause effect. Remember, this is just to kind of giving that one prompt statement or the initial prompt statement the person gave us, the user gave us, we can then kind of have like a more effective and more efficient prompt that we can give to the LLM, and it goes on and on, right? So once we are done, the next is the structure. So we also have a structure output element, output format element. It can basically be output if you want, and then we just say structure your response using appropriate headings. I mean, this mainly the thought was for writing task. I mean, if you are doing something development, like most often I do, and you want it to come out in a JSON format, or you have a dedicated format for it, this might not be the right output. But for now, I just wanted text generation, mainly text generation task. So this is what I used, and then basically we are saying that whatever XML output you have, let it have Unicode encoding so that it can easily work with other systems. So once this is done, and you can see I've written some test cases over here, tried out a few. So let's just see which one we use here. So I would let's try what is the meaning of life. I haven't tried that one yet, so I'll just comment out these other examples. Oh, I took down this guy. Yeah. So then once we are done, what we are going to do now, I have Codium. I use Codium for pair coding, so I'll just run this and then give the output to Codium to try to see what Codium will say. Or I mean, Codium underneath uses the GPT models, right? Okay, this is Llama 3.1, 70 billion, which is fine. So let's just try this. So I run the test file, goes through it. Okay, let's give it a minute. All right, so it came back. It says so all right, okay, it says over here, we can see it says, let's just copy this and paste it here so we can see it better. So we have this, and then we say okay, let me not do this. Let's create a new file. So create a new text file, paste this here. Let's just say it's okay, let's do this again. So let's create a new text file. Let's say it's XML. It's an XML file. We paste this here, and then we can format output for XML. Okay, let me close this. Don't save it. Don't save it. I said don't save it. Don't save it. Okay, so now let's just create a new file. Let me just go with HTML for now. Paste this here, and I mean, we can save it. So now we format the document. You can see over here it says prompt, the context, the user is seeking information about meaning life, and I think I'll have to work on this. It puts this there. Then we say that provide a comprehensive information about the meaning of life. I mean, meaning life, right? So structure your response with an introduction, blah blah blah. Then we also say structure your response using appropriate headings, all of that. So basically this is what it would output. So now let's copy this and go back. Like I said, I use Codium, which currently is using Llama 3.1. so let's give this to Llama 3.1 and see what will come out. Okay, so it even has a heading here, but basically it says introduction, the meaning of life, purpose, reason, theories of the meaning of life, all of this. So you see, basically the user started off, I mean the developer started off with just a small sentence, what is the meaning of life, right? And then the user was able to get something else out of it. Let's try, I'm gonna copy this. So copy this. Let's see, I just want to keep the example, right? So let's say how to build a spaceship, something of this sort, and then we rerun our example, give it a moment for it to come up. And while we wait for it to come up, this can be improved. I mean, it can be improved to do way better than it's doing right now. For now, I'm just using NLTK just to kind of, and you can see that even how it is generated, right? How the questions is generated, how the context is generated. It just puts in the words that it picked. So when I said how to build a spaceship, it just says the user is seeking information about build, spaceship. Basically, it's still kind of telling the LLM to, it's giving the job to the LLM to think of what the user is trying to do, which is not good at this point. But yeah, it's a proof of concept and it can be improved. So how do we build a spaceship? This is it. How to build a spaceship, and the introduction, define mission, determine the purpose of the spaceship. Okay, all right, spaceship, blah blah blah, all of this. So this is it, guys. Thank you. Let me know what you think. All right.